This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nashay Taylor. The Wadena County Sheriff's Office was able to keep more than 350 grams of fentanyl off the streets. 32-year-old John Gordon of Waubun was arrested Tuesday after the drugs, which are estimated to have a street value of $36,000, were found during a traffic stop. Authorities say Gordon was seen speeding, prompting the deputy to pull his vehicle over. Police K-9 Nitro alerted the deputy of the presence of narcotics and a search was conducted. Gordon has been charged with a first-degree controlled substance. If convicted, he faces up to 40 years in prison. A 65-year-old man is dead, and the Mandan Police Department is investigating it as a homicide. The man is identified as Kevin Grable. He is believed to be homeless. His body was found near the Fort Lincoln trolley around 7 p.m. last night. Authorities are asking for the public's help with retracing Grable's movements over the past few days. According to police, Grable was last seen on Thursday around 7:15 near the 700 block of 3rd Street Southeast in Mandan. Grable was wearing an orange Flyers shirt, khaki pants, and gray shoes. New details tonight on a shooting that happened during a high school football game. We're learning a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old were shot last night, according to police. The shooting was reported around 8:45 during the homecoming game at the Richfield High School football field in Minnesota. In a live stream of the game, gunshots could be heard and players can be seen clearing the field, as well as numerous others in the stands were seen running from the area. Authorities say an on-site officer was alerted of a group of individuals that were denied entry to the game. That group then gathered near the football field before shots rang out. The two male victims were taken to an area hospital and their injuries are not life-threatening. Now, Richfield High School officials say all weekend events are now canceled, including the homecoming dance. Well, let's send it over to Jim for a first look at our forecast. Jim.
Hey Nashay, right now we're taking a look down at the Dakota Magic Skycam where those flags are still flying pretty well after today's pretty gusty wind that moved through the area. Temperatures right now are showing most people in the 50s. We do have a 60 down at Aberdeen and a 48 up in Hallock, but most places in between are in the 50s. Taking a look at our sky conditions, we have some of those showers moving out of our area to the east. Just a few of them left for those in places like Lake of the Woods County, but those won't trouble us for much longer. The rest of us are very clear. Here in Fargo, we'll continue to see those clear skies and temperatures will continue to dip into the lower 50s and will bottom out at about 51 degrees by morning. I'll let you know how long we can expect this dry weather to last and when we might see rain again coming up.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jim. Fiona is now a post-tropical cyclone and is doing damage to communities in Canada's Atlantic coast. David Daniel has the latest.
We want to see Nova Scotians get through this.
This is just some of the damage Fiona brought to Nova Scotia after making landfall early Saturday morning. You can see trees ripped from the ground. Packing hurricane-force winds, the storm knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of Canadians in what's being called a landmark weather event. This is video from Port aux Basques in Newfoundland, where the storm destroyed homes along the coast and flooding inundated streets in Prince Edward Island. The mayor of Port aux Basques issued a warning to curious residents on Facebook.
There are too many people on our streets traveling around, taking pictures and just out trying to see what's going on. We have telephone poles that are falling in around the community, that are falling down. There are live wires on some of these poles. We do not need people out just cruising around the streets. We need you to stay home.
Fiona made landfall in Puerto Rico as a Category 1 storm last Sunday, causing extensive damage and widespread flooding. It left at least 5 people dead as it battered the Caribbean before it reached Canada's eastern coast as a post-tropical cyclone. Now concern grows over Tropical Storm Ian. It formed late Friday in the Caribbean and it's expected to strengthen into a hurricane before hitting Florida.
We're thinking first and foremost of the people who've had a terrifying past 12 hours. People have seen their homes washed away, seen the winds rip schools, roofs off. Recovery is going to be a big effort. We will be there to support every step of the way.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is responding to the significant damage left behind as Fiona pummeled through parts of the country. He says he will deploy the Canadian Armed Forces to help with recovery efforts. Trudeau also says the Canadian government will match any donations to the Canadian Red Cross over the next 30 days. More than 730 people were arrested in Russia today following protests against President Vladimir Putin's mobilization order for the Russian military. The arrests span over 30 towns and cities from St. Petersburg to Siberia. President Putin announced on Wednesday that about 300,000 people would be summoned to active duty in an attempt to increase the number of troops fighting in Ukraine. This is Russia's first public mobilization since World War II. Since the announcement, President Joe Biden has called on the UN General Assembly to stand in solidarity with Ukraine to oppose Russian aggression. Voting is underway in Russian-occupied regions in Ukraine on whether to join Russia. In Mariupol, people cast their votes at polling stations, and polling teams canvassed damaged apartments to collect those votes. Ukraine and its Western allies, including the United States, have condemned the voting as a sham. The voting is scheduled to end on Tuesday, but Ukrainian officials say they will never accept Russian control of any of its territory. 2 U.S. military veterans who disappeared 3 months ago while fighting against Russia with Ukrainian forces have returned home. The Alabama residents were released by Russian-backed separatists as part of a prisoner exchange. The pair went missing in Kharkiv, Ukraine, near the Russian border on June 9th. Saudi Arabia brokered the exchange that granted their release. The Saudi embassy released a statement Wednesday saying it helped secure the release of 10 prisoners from Morocco, the United States, the United Kingdom, Sweden, and Croatia. A small town community is raising money for a family that lost their 18-year-old son. The young man was allegedly run over and killed following a politically motivated argument in McHenry, North Dakota. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling is live now in New Rockford with more on how a local restaurant is giving back to the young man's family. Aaron?
Hi, Nishay. Buckets Bar here in New Rockford is donating 100% of its proceeds today in honor of Kaylor Ellingson, the 18-year-old that had died on September 18th after allegedly being run over by another individual. Now, small communities like New Rockford and McHenry, it's common for everyone to know each other. And that strong community connection is allowing many people from these areas to band together for the Ellingson family. Justin McDonald, the owner of Buckets Bar, says he wants to help out Kaylor's loved ones, a family he has known for over a decade.
He'd be really proud, I believe. He was such a good, young, bright kid that I know he's looking up there smiling at all of us.
While some have made speculations into the situation revolving around Kaylor's death, there are others that want to show that the small community can be a positive force for a grieving family. Reporting live in New Rockford, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
Thanks so much, Aaron. 41-year-old Shannon Brandt is now charged with criminal vehicular homicide and for leaving the scene of the crash and the death of Kaylor. Brandt is expected back in court next month. Gold prices are down. We'll explain why later on Valley News Live at 10.
And today was quite the windy day out there, where places in North Dakota seeing gusts of over 40 miles an hour. Raleigh there at 40, Minot at 41. Places in Minnesota just a touch lower, hovering around to 25. Things have definitely calmed down a little bit, and our winds are hovering right around 10 miles an hour at this hour. I'll let you know how long we can expect these dry conditions to remain coming up.